Watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive, this is Trap or Dive.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of Trap or Dive Podcast. Where's my camera? I am your host of the Trap or Dive Podcast. There we go. Mual. The fellas and AJ Dre. Appreciate everybody checking in live in the chat. DMV fan, Rob, J Tizzy, Monty, Nail, Rob, Stud Muffin.
Nah, bro. I wouldn't have even said that joint. Who is that?
Reveal yourself.
Put a face up there.
Appreciate everybody checking in live, man. Shout out to the trappers, man, the members of the Trap or Dive Podcast. Amani, good Lord.
Shout out to the studs, like Drewski was saying.
Oh man, no, bruh. That just threw my whole.
You don't want to read it. Hey, you ain't had to read it. You ain't even had to shout out anybody.
Shout out to all the trappers, bruh. Benz, what's going on? Everybody that's on the YouTube side, man. If you are want to support on this side, man, consider being a member as well. It's definitely appreciated in terms of showing your support that away for a monthly fee, of course. But it's definitely appreciated, as I mentioned. Audio side, I'm sorry, Twitch, Twitter, which way you are watching outside of YouTube, man. We appreciate you all checking in, as always. If you're on the audio side, man, appreciate that. You, Apple, Spotify, hit the follow button if you haven't been following. If you're brand new to the show, rate and review if you can. It takes 10 seconds to do so, and it's free to show your support that away. Fellas, how y'all doing, man? I'm live from Los Angeles with my double cup of hen dog. You know, my day's over. I did my workout at 4:30 in the morning. You know,
got that from the hotel bar?
Yeah, they giving me a $17 daily credit for food or drink. Well, food and drink.
Hold on, how much daily credit?
$17.50 to be exact.
Oh, I thought you said $17. I said LA. That's a record.
$17.50. I paid the difference. I basically paid an $8 double for a double, a henny. Hey, you know.
Oh man. Hey, the chat is going off. He said AP equal a joke.
Yeah. We're gonna get into it. I mean, obviously, first 2 days, I saw what Jay Tizzy said. I actually didn't even. I saw the Leo Chanel before we jumped on, but I didn't see.
But Chubb, I didn't see nothing about that. That's why my face was scrunched up over here. I was like, wait.
Yeah, I'm about to go to my tab of beat writers and see if
he's talking about
something.
Jay Tyler said we signed Nick Chubb, and I was looking all over for it.
That must have just happened.
I don't see it. I'm looking now. Yeah, I only see Leo. I don't see anything about no Nick Chubb. But Jay Tizzy, do me a favor. If you are on Twitter, Jay Tizzy, mention me and the reporter who put it out there. But I don't see anything about Nick Chubb.
Jay Tizzy old. He might have just got pranked. Yeah. He might have just got pranked.
Yeah, it happens. Okay. How we feeling? What's going on with y'all, man? Everything all right?
Oh yeah, man. I think everything is good. Glad we were still able to do the show with this being a pivotal. Here we go, a pivotal week for Washington's franchise and for Adam Peters. And as you can see with the engagement on social media from all fans all over the NFL, but especially those that we, cater to with our show Trap or Dive, are going crazy. You feel me? There's a lot of things happening. And 15 minutes before we started this, a signing came through. So it's just like, be patient. Some people that you think they should have been in on or would have hoped to had them been on, they weren't. And now what's happening is you possibly could land some big you possibly could land someone huge on the market at a cheaper cost because the market is dictating differently. That's why you're seeing, Leo Chanel sign for 8 a year. You're seeing Tyreek Woolen in the last hour sign for up to 15 million, a 1 year deal. I mean, I'll let y'all continue to go, and I'll bring it up as we talk.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when we started this show, bro, I was about to come in here just be puzzled. Like I was about to be like, "What is the plan?" And I know it's still early. I get that. I know it's still early in free agency, but for me, when you keep seeing reports of Commanders are right there in the end with a guy, they were in with this guy, or they were right there, they were second runner ups. So I'm like, are these all of their plan A's that they're striking out on? So what do you have? What is the plan? Especially when you talk about the offensive side of the football. Now, the Leo Chanel signing that just happened, obviously, but that tells me they at least had a plan for defense. Like you came in, and which the defense did need a lot of work. You had to do something there on that side of the football, and so far that's the side they've addressed. But there's still issues on the offense. I mean, granted, bad offense. A lot of fans think. I just think you need to add a couple of pieces, but you haven't seen anything moving yet, which kind of leads me to something else that I've been against vehemently against the whole offseason so far, and that's been looking the offensive side of the football. Starting to warm up to that now. And I feel like those are the signals they're giving. Like they really probably like a Jeremiah Love or even against my wishes, a Carnell Tate. Like, I mean, I'm not against Carnell Tate, the player, but just in the top 10, I'm against him because I don't think he's a top 10 profile type of receiver. But with all that said, back to free agency, you still wonder what the plan is on offense because you still need help there. You still need some skill position guys around Jaden. You have to maximize Jaden's potential there. But again, I'm going back to the defensive side of the football, which the plan looks good so far, honestly. Like, I mean, I know it's been, we're impatient. These signings are, happening sporadically. They're not happening as fast as we thought. But at the end of the day, so far up until this point, can you say Washington has improved their roster on that side of the football? Yes. How much they've improved, that's to be determined. I mean, I'm not going to go out and say they're a top 15 defense tomorrow, but now you improve the pass rush. You got a guy that you didn't have on the defensive line under Tim Settle, and I say that as no one else on the defensive line does, but Tim Settle does, and that's kind of that nose tackle role. That seems like somebody that fits the Durante Jones profile. Then you get a Leo Chanel. I mean, we've been kind of clamoring for this coverage linebacker, more speed, more athleticism at the linebacker spot. And he's been damn good and damn solid with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I am questionable about the Amik Robinson signing. Like that didn't get me going too much, but I mean, maybe they have a plan for it. But today, I do think you got better on defense.
Yeah, I mean, so far, 2 days into free agency, you have only defensive signings. Odafe Owe, Leo Chanel, Tim Settle, Mick Robinson. Washington, I had to go get my phone. I had it somewhere else so I can maneuver through some of the information that's been going on in the past couple of days. But Washington was in on, what's the guy's name? Of course, I don't have it saved. The guy who went to Carolina.
Jalen Phillips was their number one target.
Yeah, Jalen Phillips. Washington was in on Jalen. You said, say it again?
I said he was their number one target at defensive end.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so Phillips went to Carolina. Washington was in on Phillips. But you kind of understand that they were aware that they needed help at defensive end, that at that edge spot. I don't think they're done. I think depth is going to be really important. I mentioned um, Jake Martin is somebody that you should entertain and bringing back. Uh, but then you look at Tim Settle, a depth piece. But I think that's a quality depth piece that you're bringing in to upgrade. I mean, you already mentioned Dre, uh, like the role that he would fill, or the void, excuse me, the void that he would fill. Because I mean, look, let's be real. I'm not interested in seeing Deron Payne or Johnny Newton play that nose guard, zero tech, one technique all season, and seeing these motherfuckers getting bullied in the trenches when they got to take on double teams. Like, let their athleticism show out. Put them out a little bit between that tackle guard center. Well, over top of the guard, to be more specific. So tackle guard, over top of the guard, shoulder of the guard. Let them work out over there. But you need somebody who's going to help plug these holes up. And I'm not saying Tim Settle is like your prototypical run defender, but what I'm saying is he's more built to handle the interior and what that looks like. But he also has some pass rush juice. Not like he's going to be a sack Damon, but he can play pass down and run downs, right? You needed somebody like that. I think the edge part, I think this is a real conversation. When you get a guy, where did I go to for? All right, here we go. When you get a guy, and I'm trying to get my stuff together, Odafe Owe. Some people would think that free agency is all about like taking risk, or betting on upside. I think that fits for that player that we just signed, right? He's coming off of an impressive stint with the Chargers on the back half of the season after being traded from Baltimore, right? Had a 10-sack season in Baltimore too. And if you ask some Baltimore people, they may not be super impressed by Owe. But I think that's kind of defining, in a sense, what even AP is doing. Well, now to people in the chat, we'll ultimately get to some of the names that they were reportedly linked to and didn't land. We'll get to that. But I also think one of the risks that AP is taking here, fellas, is like betting on that upside. Last year, in a different sense, Javon Kinlaw was that guy for Washington, right? Not just from a monetary standpoint. Like, once the contract numbers broke out, you understood that it was a glorified 2-year deal. But the money was also good enough. Like, it doesn't hurt you. They thought it was a lot of people, when they saw the numbers, thought it was a huge deal for a person who wasn't really producing in New York. But you're taking a bet on that upside and the fact that these people know him. In the building, they knew Kinlaw. This one, in the same sense, you're taking a bet on a guy whose upside is like, you're betting on somebody that's going to break through and like consistently bring you that pressure that you was looking for in the edge, right? I can't wait to start looking into him. If I get some downtime while I'm out here, I'll start doing it. But I think for a player like this like Owe, you're hoping, or AP, if you're AP, you're hoping that the money that you invest into this type of edge rusher who's young, his motor is really good. He's explosive. He's an athlete, right? You're hoping that this investment finally pays off, because even if Dorrance Owe doesn't work out, Dorrance's contract ends next year. So like, you're gonna be stuck with this guy for a couple years. At the very least, you're gonna be stuck with this guy for a couple years. So you're betting that this investment on somebody whose upside hasn't come to fruition yet pays off tenfold, and he outperforms the contract that you give him, or that you've given him. Excuse me.
Well, more.
Yeah.
Go ahead, AJ. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, with Odafe Owe, man, everything is there from a physical standpoint. The agency I was with when Odafe was coming out. He used to go by Jason. Uh, was coming out of Penn State or whatever. We recruited him, and I seen a bright future for him on the NFL level. So I'm happy to see him get a second contract up to 100 million. Won't see all of the 100 million, but you're talking about a 6'5", 6'6", 265 freak, African freak. You feel me? That ran a 4.3 at Penn State pro day. You feel me? So it's like at the end of the day, he has the traits there. He's an amazing run stopper. Not necessarily like a great bend off the edge pass rusher, but he can get there with moves. He has some moves in his repertoire. I think that's something that you can count on, and that's what free agency is really built for. When you can take a bet on a 25, 26, 27-year old and hoping that they reach, new heights. Let's just look at Philadelphia Eagles a couple years ago. They signed Zach Bond out of the Saints. They hoped that he would be able to turn into something better, and he did. He made the All Pro team, whatever the case is. You just never know with free agents and how you can utilize them. But I love the addition of Odafe Owe. Of course, he may not have been necessarily their number one target, but that's just how
That's
things
how
work.
it works. Yeah.
That's just how things work. You never know what another team is offering. That's why you got to make your best pitch when the time is present, because you don't know that Carolina may offer this much more. You don't know the transparency, the relationships from that aspect. That's why you even try to utilize the combine just to see where this agent is with, the mindset of where they possibly want these clients to be at. But yeah, it's a great deal. Leo Chanel just coming in 15 minutes before we started the show. He's been a versatile player. Like, he's literally been versatile, like, in every usage of the sense of the word with Kansas City. I think here he'll be more so a linebacker, a middle linebacker, and a 3-4. And I still believe that they bring Bobby Wagner back. I'm not pivoting off of that. I think that it'd be a great addition, but Leo can also come off the edge as well. Like, you're talking about versatile pieces that they've added defensively. Even Amik Robertson, he could play outside, he could play slot, primarily a slot, but Detroit had to use him in multiple positions. So I just think that it's been great what they done on the defensive side. They could add a bit more. The league year starts tomorrow. There's also going to be some players that end up moving and things shaking up tomorrow. You still got Jonathan Grenard that could be available. I also have found out that Washington is interested in Trey Henderson, and they're working on things on that end.
Well, speaking of people they're working on, I just seen a report from Jeremy Fowler. He said one of the names that keeps coming up often is Caleb Chasen, so we'll keep an eye out for that. That could be possibly adding another linebacker there. But I wanted to talk about Owe a little bit because, Maul, you mentioned the upside factor with him. I think in this case, this is a case where the upside is you're already kind of seeing the production with the upside. I mean, he had 10 sacks in 2024 with the Ravens. This past year, he had another 10 sack or a double-digit sack campaign. I mean, he had 7.5 during the regular season, but 3 in the playoffs. So this is a guy that not only do you see that upside, but you're also seeing it kind of come together for them. So it's kind of maybe not the biggest risk that you would think when you kind of look at some of those high upside players. This is more so you're looking at a guy that's coming into his own, and you may be kind of developing a floor with him, to this point. And they may see him as even more than a 10 sack guy. I mean, he's reached 10 once in his career, but maybe he can get the more, maybe he can get the new heights. But at the end of the day, maybe his floor is 10 sacks. But either way, that's better than anything you had last year or in Adam Peters' tenure altogether. This is by far the best edge rusher, or at least the best prospect of an edge rusher that he's signed since he's been here. So you got to think that they're not just going with the upside there. They had to see some kind of production standpoint. Even with a Chanel, this guy's 25 years old. He may not have reached his full potential yet, but he's already shown the production with Kansas City. He's already shown the versatility. So, I mean, again, defensively, I'm looking at the signings. I'm a little bit more pleased than I was before we entered free agency, because I do see that you had a plan there at least. Like, I mean, and like you said, Oweh may not have been, plan number one for them, but they did kind of pivot to him pretty fast. So maybe he was high up on that list. Maybe he was number two. But either way, you got a guy that most people would probably say that he is on the upswing at the edge rusher position, a position that you desperately needed. You addressed it. So we'll see what happens, going forward in free agency, if they're going to add more. I'm pretty sure they're going to add more. As I just mentioned, Chase on, AJ mentioned Hendrickson. Who knows what happens with that? But they're still in the mix for some defensive guys. But now we got to kind of see what they're going to do on that offensive end.
Chase on isn't official yet, Sean. That's just a rumor from a official reporter and Jeremy Fowler. That's a name that keeps popping up. I think it's important to note, like, the pass rush part is real. Like, Washington needs is. Look at Jay Tizzy, man. I told you, bro. We tried to tell you. It's all good, bro.
Gotta watch out for those this time of year.
Yeah, man. Let me see your senior citizen card, bro. Like, go ahead, flash it on the stream, bro. We'll let you pass, bro. No, so like Chase on. In general, Washington does need like as much pass rush help as they can get, and I think what's important for these guys, bro, like, now we wasn't as bad as Baltimore. I don't think they seen a sack since the fucking Biden administration, but like with Washington, you didn't even know that Dorrance Armstrong was going to come on the scene as strong as he did in 2025, and he did his thing until he got hurt. Outside of that, you was hoping for like a structured, like, stay disciplined, compress the pocket. Let's get these sacks as we can get them, and pray to God that we can put some pressure on the quarterback to make these mistakes. You need people like, now. I'm not going to sit here and break down Durante's system, but you need people who can create, but also are like just full-blown athletes in a sense. You need versatility. Like, can you play the run, but also can you rush the passer? And which one are you really good at? And I think even the Chanel part on the second level, if you get a guy like that, an athlete who can run a little bit, but also has a reputation for being a solid blitzer, I think that is going to be paying dividends in the long run, obviously. And even with the cornerback, like, if you can find these guys who are capable of blitzing from the second and third level, that's a versatility that you don't have to use every single week, but I sure can game plan the shit out somebody on a given Sunday because I got this piece or I got that piece, and it's going to work out for me. So pass rush, I don't think we're done yet. I don't know what their plan is at safety. I'm not going to think about that too much, but I do think they need to add a cornerback. That's going to be something like, I don't know what their true plan is, and also it kind of ties into safety because it's like, I don't know what they're going to do with Quan, how Durante feels with Quan. The longer you go into free agency / the draft, you start to make assumptions. And where I'm at right now mentally, 2 days in, again, we don't know, but where I'm at mentally is like they currently do have a plan for Quan. But the question is, does he stay at safety or does he move down the slot? And I think the answer to that right now is with the addition of Amit. I think that you probably keep him at safety until you find better.
Or maybe Mikey ends up moving to free safety. Because I don't see him as an outside corner. Like, I know a lot of people that watch the team and root for the team. Oh, he was better on the outside. Yeah. In this style of defense that they plan on running, he's gonna get bodied on the outside. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's something to watch for sure. Mikey might be going to free safety and still bringing that versatility of being able to play outside nickel if need be, but maybe free safety is that home for him for the time being until draft time. That's just what I'm thinking because Amik Amik got forced to play outside because the Lions was losing all their corners. He really a slot. So
What do you think, Mikey? Because that's one of the biggest looming questions of free agency so far to me. Because I'm worried as hell if the plan is to keep Mikey on the outside of cornerback because I don't want Smurf cornerbacks. I mean, it's fine when you got one guy starting in your trio of cornerbacks is 5'9". I mean, especially you got a dog. These dudes got heart. I mean, he playing in the NFL, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're still going to face bigger receiver, physical receivers. Some teams throwing out two physical receivers, two bigger guys that can overpower those smaller guys. So I worry in the sense that, Mikey may still be viewed as an outside cornerback with an Amik Robinson, and you got two Smurfs out there at cornerback. I mean, no disrespect to those dudes. I mean, they got hot, like I said. You know what I'm saying? They can do it, but, it's at some level, you got to be able to physically match up with the opponents. And there's going to be games where we can be physically dominated by some of those bigger receivers. We play in a division with an AJ Brown. I mean, I don't know how much longer he played with the Eagles, but the Cowboys, CD Lamb and George Pickens. I mean, these are physical guys that you hope that you can match up with. And so far, Trey Amos is the biggest guy you got when you're talking about guys in that cornerback rotation. And then AJ, to your point, where you talk about moving a Mikey to safety, I mean, it sounds good in theory because Mikey's the guy you want to see with this. You want Mikey playing with eyes on the ball, like eyes being able to react and instinctively to the quarterback. But my question is he ready to be physical enough and more of a willing tackler at the safety position? I mean, those are some of those things you got to kind of worry about when you talk about converting guys from cornerback to safety.
yeah, I don't know. I think how I've looked at the last 48 hours, man, everything is on the table at number 7 in the draft. You feel
That
me?
but that was the case before we started free agency.
Yeah,
So,
but
we
you
were looking at defense a lot more.
but you kind of wanted to solidify some things. I mean, they added a pass rusher. Dorrance Armstrong is still coming back from an injury. Uh, we don't really know what's fully happening at the cornerback position, linebacker position. You still got a need there. You got a need at safety. You got a need at tight end. You got a need at wide receiver. You got a major need at running back unless something really shakes up tomorrow with the new league year starting. But yeah, I think it leaves a lot of things on the table for pick number 7, and I think that's probably where like a lot of fans are getting antsy and upset about. Because I mean, the holes still exist, but on the other side, once again, the league year starts tomorrow. Some guys are going to get released. Some guys are going to be in contract situations for restructure and may not want to do it. Yeah, you just really don't know who else is going to be added to this pool of free agents or out there on the trade market to possibly be added to your team.
so let's kind of transition to yes, Chris. What's up, Chris? Appreciate you checking in. Appreciate you checking in to Trap or Dive, man. Before you got the news. But yeah, Leo Chanel or Chanel, however you say his name is, bro. He landed with the Commanders. They signed him to a 3-year deal. So I sent y'all a message in the group chat. And one of the things that I said, let me go to the message because I gotta pick the tweet up. We were talking about the comment that AP people aren't like the cop out in a sense. I'll just say it. What is AP supposed to do if people aren't choosing Washington, right? The title that we have up right now for our show is Commanders keep finishing second on top free agents. That's what I have up there. I do think this is important. I think there's truth to the narrative that AP can only offer, right? And it's the players that's going to make the decision ultimately. I think that is 100% truth. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I also think that there is a distinction between or recognizing what what the players can do versus like the job that AP has to do, right? And what I mean by that is Like if you were to have a meet, if you're AP and you were to have a meeting with Josh Harris after 4 years, right? Not specifically after year three. Damn, this is year three. That's crazy. So let's say 4 years. And he's like, Adam, man, he asked you the question like, Adam, what's going on, bro? Like, we what's up? What's up, bro? And AP says, man, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I've been offering these players buku money. Should I remember that year where I offered Alec Pierce, I'm making up a number because we don't know the exact details. I'm making up a number. Remember that year we offered Alec Pierce 35 million and he decided to stay in Indianapolis? I mean, what the fuck was I supposed to do? I'm just offering the money. Look, hey, remember Tyler Lindenbaum? Man, look, bro, I saw he was the best free agent on the market. That's why I cut Tyler Biadasz because I knew we had a good chance of getting Tyler Lindenbaum. I cut him. I cut Tyler. And I cut Biadasz. And I probably had a few backup plans here and there at center. But my number one guy, I had a plan for him, but he chose the Raiders. What was I supposed to do? Romeo Dobbs. Bro, I had an offer for this man too. You ain't gonna believe it. And what this motherfucker do? I can't say the N-word because Adam Peters is white, so we ain't gonna do that. He chose New England. What was I supposed to do? Josh Harris is like, well, brother, man, the last 3 years, 2020, 2025, 2026, 2027, we didn't lost 9+ games. Well, look, tell them people if we want to win, they got to sign with me. That's not good enough. There is no reason that if you're Adam Peters or people who are making this narrative, it's not Adam Peters. I'm sure he's not making any excuses. He's doing his job. He's just not getting these guys that he's targeting. And I didn't even mention the Carolina guy, Phillips, that we already talked about earlier in the show, right? It's Adam Peters isn't going to be the one making the excuse. But I think from a narrative standpoint, I think there is some things to acknowledge. Sure, like I think Adam Peters has shown some state of aggression or some form of aggression in terms of the top free agents or some of the guys that he has felt like Washington needed, at least on the offensive side of the ball, right? I think that's fair. And I wouldn't take that away from him. But at the same time, I think ultimately when you look at Adam Peters in the totality in which he's doing or what he's supposed to be doing, I think you have to acknowledge if you don't land those guys, that's also on him too. Like, where is the barrier? Where is I can't, and I don't think anybody in here can tell you exactly where what the barrier is between the player choosing Washington and the player choosing elsewhere when Washington has been reportedly among the top 2 finalists for some of these players. So I think it's important for us to realize that, like, at the end of the day, that narrative isn't going to cut it for Adam Peters. But also, just like what's going on, are you all concerned about Washington finishing second, especially on the offensive side of the ball? Because we're talking about it's only 2 days. But Jaden, the most important person on this team, has not gotten any help around him at all. And I think that's the most essential thing that we have to keep in mind, at least in free agency. Draft, we'll have a discussion as we go on throughout this topic. But yeah, where y'all at?
I mean, I think like you just finished what you were saying, the most damning part is your quarterback that's still on his rookie contract and is eligible to sign an extension next year. You haven't added any talent to go around him. Yeah, I mean, it's nice that they added some pieces defensively, but offensively, you still don't have you still need several wide receivers. You have no receiving threat at tight end. You have no RB1. You also now have no center. And your guard is on the market. You might be able to retain him based off the market not really picking up the way that he had envisioned in Chris Paul. but your quarterback is lacking. I think with AP, it just seems like it just seems
Was
like
there a plan?
I think there's a plan, right?
No, was there?
No,
What?
there's a plan, but the plan also, you're not understanding or getting a full grasp of what the market is for these particular individuals that are a part of your plan. So if you're going after Alec Pierce, you need to understand where this person is already thinking. Like they really want to be an indie, but if they can get to this number, they would leave the thought of going returning back to Indy to going elsewhere, which would be Washington. From Linder, like I mean, they've been said to be linked to Linderbaum, Alec Pierce, Romeo Dobbs, Jalen Phillips. Am I missing somebody?
I'm about to check right now because I've been saving them.
I felt like I'm missing one extra person.
There's
Dog,
somebody else on that list too. I'm trying to pull.
Linderbaum, Alec Pierce.
Oh, likely.
Um,
Wasn't likely. They
I don't
said they
think
liked
so.
him.
I don't
What's
think
his name?
they wasn't in on likely.
Somebody came in. I want to say it was Cam or somebody that came in and said that they were interested in Cam. I mean, likely. I know I saw like Ben
Yeah.
Standard on
So I
one of
mean,
those
I'll keep
reports saying
going
like,
while the search, but it's also the structuring of the contract. You could say that you offered more money, but if the structure of the contract isn't paying out a guy a bulk of that money immediately, then it looks way different than another team offered. You feel me? So it's just one of those cases where it also isn't doing Washington any favors that all these media pundits that have high rapport are coming out and saying Washington was in the mix. I mean, there was other teams in the mix too, but you don't hear them getting mentioned. You hear Washington being mentioned as they were really in on this guy, but this person ended up taking more or less or whatever the case is. So it's just one of those tricky things, man. I think that Adam is learning a lot during this course. And they're also in a hard place where they got a lot of roster positions that they got to fill. Like, I mean, yes, they retained some guys. Also, kudos to getting the deal done with Lermy Tunsil before the league year could start. So that counts. Now you bring in the Leo Chanel, Amik Robertson, Tim Settle, Owe. Yeah, now you still got probably 25 to 28 more spots that you got to fill from starter to depth. So, I mean, I'm not a big Adam Peters fan. I've said on here that I would have fired him and Dan Quinn at the end of the year. Like they wouldn't have even been running this free agency period at this moment. But unfortunately, they are. And we'll see how this shit shakes up. But right now, I'm not necessarily mad because the guys that people view them to have missed out on, I wasn't really high on them. I wasn't high on Alec Pierce. I wasn't high on Romeo Dobbs. I wasn't necessarily high on Isaiah Likely. Kenneth Walker would have been nice, but they weren't in the mix for that. They weren't in the mix for any running back at this point, from what I remember reading. So that kind of gives you a little bit of concern. Maybe they know something is happening elsewhere when the league year starts. Maybe that's a Devin Achane. Maybe that's a Alvin Kamara. Maybe that's a Joe Mixon. Maybe that's a Blake Corum. Maybe that's somebody elsewhere. I don't really know. Maybe they know something that we don't know at this point.
So
But
I,
go
I
ahead.
was just going. No, I was just going to add because I'm listening. I'm listening to you. But I'm also just to add to the conversation. Now I can't verify this because I'm trusting my followers and our supporters, right? Jay Tizzy said likely said he wanted to be there. I would love to know where you heard that. I would imagine it's the intro presser, Jay
Oh, he
Tizzy.
said it. He said it interview with Kay Adams.
Oh, that they. Oh, so this is after he signed.
No, not at. I mean, no one has signed yet until tomorrow.
So where is
But
this? So he said we never offered him. So this, like, I'm just listening to what Jay Tizzy said. He said
okay,
we never offered him.
yeah.
So I'm like, this has to come after the decisions to go to New York.
Oh yeah,
Um,
so I
so
think they mentioned a couple of teams that were in the mix in Washington. It came out, maybe Kime said it, I don't know, I don't want to put
and
it on
Com
him.
and Moneyball
But some
mentioned Com said that they were in on
That's
likely,
what
but
I.
not at
That's
the
what I
number
heard.
that Giants offered. So like,
but I
it's
think didn't one of y'all share a tweet that
No,
Grant
that was
Paulson
Grant
said that
Paulson. Yeah,
Grant
but remember we talked that
that's
though.
where I was getting at. That's kind of the point of me bringing those conversations up is because I don't know where Jay Tizzy got his information from, but it would validate what Grant Paulson put out there a day or two whenever it happened yesterday, maybe today's Tuesday, so yesterday, that Washington wasn't super impressed on with likely. Um, we didn't know like how much weight to put into it, but these two, what likely said and what Grant Paulson reported, would align with each other if that was the case. And I'm actually I'm super surprised, like, and I'm questioning
Whose
not
tape
like
do they like at tight end? That's the question.
so here and enter Ben Standig, right? Because Ben Standig has said he's not sure that they'll do anything at tight end, and that ought to tell you a lot. If they ultimately if he ends up right and they ultimately don't do anything at tight end, that ought to tell you a lot. And what I mean by that, I mean that in the worst the worst way. Like, bruh, you like what you like at tight end, bruh. Like, there's gonna be fans out there that's happy. But oh my God, bruh, you cannot go into 2026 with the tight end roster that you got right now.
yeah, man, there's tight ends available. Like, I'm honestly still surprised
You
that
got to get
Chig
Chig.
Okonkwo. I'm surprised Chig Okonkwo hasn't been picked up yet. Dallas Goddard is out there. David Njoku. There's still guys out there, but maybe that has changed while we doing the show. I don't know. I like Chig Okonkwo. I think when we focus on the defensive side, we talked about projecting. That's a perfect guy to go project
Yeah,
with because you could pay at a lesser amount and they could supersede the value that they could bring. Uh, at the end of the day, how we view what we want for them is not how they look at certain things. I would have loved Devin Lloyd at 15 mil. You feel me? Like he thought he was gonna get 20 plus. He got
I,
15. They ain't do that deal.
I'm
Even the
with you.
Tariq Woolen, I would
Um,
have took Tariq Woolen for a 1 year deal up to 15.
but that was weird. So now I'm with you. I'm with you on Devin, but I'm also with them on Leo because you needed one or the other. So I'll take, and it's not about who's better at that point. It's like I'll take a shot with Leo, who was kind of suppressed in Kansas City in terms of like his snap count, right? Like you're gonna get more in Washington, and you're gonna get an opportunity to outperform your contract here, right? But then the Tariq part, like the only thing I question is like, yo, like you got a 1 year deal, only a 1 year deal for upwards to 15 million. Like
Yeah,
what?
and
Like
that
what were you upset about? Because we didn't learn this thing for a long time. If you take a 1 year deal and you Tariq Woolen, a lot of people clamored from a fan perspective, not people
yeah.
inside the league, but a lot of people clamored about you, like in terms of how much they wanted you, and you got a 1 year deal. So like you didn't. It was something out there that you just didn't like.
But this is where AP can make up for maybe not hitting on certain things day one. The market is now being dictated. When you see a Tariq Woolen getting a 1 year deal for upwards to 15, I don't know where that starts off at. When you see a what is it, Nashawn Wright, who was the cornerback for the Bears, get a 1 year deal for 5 million. You now get the opportunity to come in and possibly add a Trey Hendrickson for way lesser than what he valued himself getting. Like you're able to maybe get some other guys. I can't remember the exact pool of players that are still available that haven't agreed to terms, but you're able to come in and get guys for lesser than what they thought their market was going to be. So, yeah, I just think that it is what it is, bro. It's either they so far if they don't show up and these additions or the lack of don't show up, they won't be here next year. A lot of people think that they safe. I don't think they safe.
Well,
Um, but
yeah,
I mean that's a deeper conversation.
Yeah, AJ, I mean, this is a put up or shut up season for me. I'm willing to give Adam Peters and any GM, honestly, that comes in, at least 3 years to show me something because you got to at least give some of those guys that they, drafted in earlier classes to show something. But this is that time, like year three. And when you look at the body of work so far, you got 1 year NFC Conference Championship game. Then you got 1 year, which, to be fair, it was a lot of injuries but it was a very bad season. It reminded us of seasons of past. Now, what is year three going to be like? And I think year three is going to kind of show you kind of where they're at. I think it's very fair to judge that because if they can come out this year, regardless of fans speaking how we feel at this moment, but if they come out in year three and they go to the playoffs again, then you're kind of feeling fine about where this is headed because that's 2 out of 3 years for a new regime to make the playoffs. But if they come out this year and they have a stinker of a season, I mean, not even just a stinker of a season, but what if they just come out just miss the playoffs? Then you start looking at that trend as maybe we're not headed in the right direction because that'll be 2 straight years of not making the playoffs after an NFC Conference Championship game. Now, I don't know why some of these players, choose the way they choose, why Washington isn't, a number one destination or why we're falling in second place. But I mean, it could be a number of things. I mean, one of those things is Washington has 2 new coordinators. Especially from a David Blau standpoint, he has no history with no one. As far as like I've worked with this guy, or some kind of rapport or reputation around the league where guys are like, yeah, you're gonna go play in that office, you're gonna eat. We don't know that. Like we're hopeful of him, we're hearing great things about him, but the NFL players aren't. They don't know. Like I mean, take an Alec Pierce for example, which is fine. I'm kind of glad we didn't go that high on a wide receiver, but why would he? Maybe we offered more guaranteed money than the Colts did, but he knows what he did in Indianapolis worked. And if he can, shave off a couple of dollars to stay in a situation where he knows he can produce, why not? I mean, that may have been a deciding factor for a guy like him. But on the other hand, it may be Adam Peters too. Adam Peters sounds like a stubborn ass dude. Like, basically I have a number and I'm not going over my number for certain players. Whereas when, you talk about a free agency, if you're not willing to kind of fluctuate with the market, then you're going to kind of get left behind. And maybe that's kind of happened to Adam Peters in some of these negotiations where he's just like, well, I'm not doing it, but someone else will. And they do. So we'll see who has the last laugh at the end of the day. But it's a lot that goes into that and why these players aren't coming here. And I think it's a multitude of reasons. I don't think it's just Adam Peters not being able to close the deal or whatever the case may be. He just sounds like a dude staunch or stubborn in his ways. Maybe he has to change those ways, maybe not. But whatever. Like I said, but at the end of the day, no, they do have to produce this year. And I think that they have to show some momentum to this fan base that it is going in the right direction. And I don't think they can afford to miss the playoffs this year.
Hey Mo, let me tell you something, bro. Boy, I was about to put Moneyball in timeout for that comment, bro. I was about to block him from the show. I don't know, bro. Talking about, but I think he been using sarcasm, so I'm right there with you, bro.
Moneyball trolling, he can't stand Adam Peters.
Moneyball trolling his ass off.
He can't stand no Adam Peters.
I couldn't let that propaganda flow in the chat, bro. That's just not gonna work for us.
Nah, he roll.
So look, I think, and you said some solid points, but I ultimately think, man, the bigger question right now as we head into day 3 is just the rest of the week. If there's breaking news, and this is a good time to tell everybody in Tribe or Die. I appreciate everybody who's watching, listening right now live. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so on the YouTube side. If you are brand new, appreciate y'all checking in. If there's breaking news, I'll be around Thursday. I'm gonna check in with the fellas. That's my travel day, so I should be able to hop on and we could do a show Thursday afternoon. So if there's any more breaking news between the time we get off today and then tomorrow, and obviously Thursday, we'll talk about it. I'm in LA, man, doing federal government things. You hear me? You know what I'm saying? Running this per diem. You hear me? All right. Drinking that N juice. Like Jay Tizzy like to describe it. Yeah, that N-word juice.
He said you need to get more classier, Mo.
Hey, look, so yesterday I did. But for the Henny Mual, man, the myth, the man, the myth, the legend, I had to get some when they said it was a $17.50 daily credit, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. I had to do it. So Thursday we'll be around. But I think honestly to close out the offensive side, I think what's important for me is knowing there's plenty, even with the running back spot, you got one running back on your roster. I think what I've come to learn is they don't really like Chris Rodriguez. That's one thing. But I think it's easy for them to keep re-signing and retaining Chris Rodriguez, knowing that he's a restricted free agent. So it's like they can do their business without him. They can bring him around if things don't work out. I think at this point, there's a lot of people who don't like Rashad White. I personally don't know exactly how they view Rashad White, but like, we ain't talking about no bell cow. We ain't talking about no guy who's going to take on 1,000 carries a season, right? That's me exaggerating. But you gotta fill out the roster. There's a reason why I thought Kenneth Gainwell and Rashad White would be good additions. It's because like if you're gonna find a bell cow or somebody who's gonna tote for you, you can find that in the draft. And the way things are shaping up, at pick 7, you may have some solid opportunities to get Bryce Love. I said Bryce Love.
Yeah, Bryce Love is throwback.
Yeah, Bryce Love.
That's Stanford.
Yeah, I know. But you may be able to get Jeremiah Love. I felt like I said Bryce Love on Twitter too, which is actually insane, and nobody corrected me, bro. Jeremiah, damn, now I'm not even confident no more. I think I said Bryce Love, bro, and nobody said anything. But Jeremiah Love and even Carnell Tate. I know AJ don't really like him, but like there's I think it opens up, and I've said this. I said the receiver part. Like I feel like there's opportunity for them to go offense in the draft in the first round, top 10.
I like Tyson better. Just saying.
You said who?
I like Tyson better than Tate. Okay. Either way, I don't want to receive in the top 10.
Okay. So like there's options there, but I ultimately think for Washington and more so Adam Peters, you got to find a way to like start filling out the depth part first. There's some quality receivers still available. I wish I had the list in front of me. But shooting off the top of my head, Christian Kirk.
You are so obsessed with Christian Kirk. God damn. Bruh, since we've been doing Trap or Dive, every free agency period, you mentioned Christian Kirk, dog.
Well, guess what? He's only been a free agent 2 times. Probably like the first time was like 2023. And then this time.
And you've also made player comps to him as well.
I have? What was the player comps?
I don't know. I can't remember. But
all right.
Hey, Christian Kirk's your guy.
So look. So here's where I'm at. But also like what's important in knowing this though, and I think maybe I'm relying on the people that I trust the most the same way that motherfucking this show relying on Debo and fucking and what's that linebacker name? Bobby Wagner. I think what's important is knowing like he is scheme versatile. In a sense, like he can play in anything. It's not like he's limited to one scheme. So you get a guy like that who can help fill your depth out. That helps. Wandale's gone. Which I mean, I'm actually surprised he didn't even entertain the NFC East. Like not even just Washington. Like I'm surprised he didn't entertain the NFC East at all. But he went with Dayball, which whatever. Yeah, I think receiver spot you got to find like at least 2. It's good that they brought Treylon Burks back. And then obviously tight end is something where it's like do you go draft or do you go free agency? Chig, of course, we talked about him. I think we're all on the same page. But I just think one of the bigger fails for Adam Peters this offseason is not doing enough for Jaden. Whether intentional or not, we already know. We discussed it earlier. Like he's come in second place a couple times already to some players. But that's not acceptable when you have to give your pitch or explanation to somebody, even if it's being Jaden. Like he doesn't want to hear we wasn't able to get XYZ, and you
Well,
wanted to make
Maul,
it work.
can I ask you this? And you're not wrong about anything you're saying right now, because up until this point, we only know what we know. And we know that right now they haven't addressed offense at all as far as going outside of the room. But and I know how you feel about this, so I kind of know the answer that's coming to this. But do
Oh
you
yeah,
feel
yeah.
the same way if an IU is signed, let's say 2-3 days later? Do you still feel that they didn't help Jaden enough, or there's not enough around them?
So I'm glad you brought that up. I actually forgot to bring up Ayuk. I think it's getting more clear and clear. Like they're like, all right, well, I know that we can get Ayuk on the mob. Like I think they're waiting. He hasn't gotten cut yet, all right? But I think like that's something where at this point it seems like we keep missing on these guys. We already know we got Ayuk in our back pocket. So at this point, to answer your question, I think Ayuk is going to be in their plans. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but ultimately, right on my first go, that they don't fuck with Ayuk, right? But at this point, it's looking like that's somebody that they just relying on at this point because they can't keep missing out on XYZ, but knowing that they can get Ayuk for cheap, that's something that's going to entertain them. Like it ain't going to be that many teams out there that's going to be interested in Ayuk after the season that he had.
Well, I mean, I don't even think it's that. I think it's Ayuk is interested in Washington just as much as they're interested in him. I
Yeah,
think the major thing is we don't know when the Ayuk is going to get officially released from San Francisco. Just because tomorrow's the league year beginning, you still got to function and maneuver as if you don't have him in your back pocket. Like you still need to add to that room so that you're not during the season having to elevate a Chris Moore or sign a Robbie Chosen to the practice squad or Rivercraft, whoever else they had at wide receiver. Like you just need some more talent
oh
there.
wow.
The Max Crosby news.
Yeah, I'm about to say I thought it was bullshit in the
Is
It
that
just
news.
real?
caught you off guard. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
real, bro.
the
Like
Ravens back
everybody's reporting it.
the Ravens backed out of the Max Crosby deal.
He failed
That's
his
that's
physical.
that's
I
low key
don't
good
know.
for the Raiders for all the moves that they made.
But Max in Baltimore right now. So
They backed out.
Well, it said Ian Rappaport and everyone has
Yeah,
already reported that they backed out of the trade.
yeah,
They said
it's
no
real.
further comment.
you know what I've been
Oh, the
meaning
Raiders put
to
out a team statement.
I've
You
been
said the
meaning
Raiders
to
did. What did the Raiders say?
The Raiders, the statement, the Raiders put out a statement saying the Baltimore Ravens have backed out of our trade agreement with Max Crosby. We will have no further comment at this time.
Oh, that
Wow,
came from the Raiders. Yeah, I'm watching
that
this.
came
I'm
from the
looking at this from
Raiders.
Adam Schefter's side. Yeah, the Baltimore Ravens had backed out. I
Yeah,
don't. Wow.
so I've been meaning to tweet this out today because nothing is official unless you have been released. You can sign now, but nothing is official until you actually put pen to paper. So it happens almost every year. Someone ends up flip flopping, switching teams that they might sign to, whatever the case is. But I was not expecting that. That is insane. So now, yeah, I don't even know what happens in that case. I've
Yeah,
never
don't
heard
even
of.
worry about it. It's not gonna be Washington.
Yeah, I mean, I've
yeah.
never. No, I'm just saying, I've never
It
heard
just
of
caught
a
me off
big
guard.
time like trade of that magnitude of and player being backed out of like
I'm
something.
with
Something has to be going on. Like,
If something happened for the
yeah,
Ravens to back off, like I don't
and
know if it's the
and the
physical or what.
Ravens lost players defensively. Like, what was
Yeah,
going, bro?
yeah, like that kind of messes up everything from their standpoint. Maybe now that's where Trey Hendrickson goes. You just never know. Who knows? That's some wild ass news.
Now
But
they did say the Trey Hendrickson was supposed to be making a decision by tomorrow. So that also to your point, AJ, if they feel like they got a really good shot at Trey, why would they trade for Max if they can get Trey and keep their draft picks?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's highly disappointing, especially for Lamar Jackson. But uh, they found out Max a crackhead. But yeah, I mean, just to refresh me again on what you were saying, Maul, because I got completely thrown off.
that threw us all
Essentially,
off.
what Dre had asked me about Ayuk, and I was just
Yeah.
saying,
Oh yeah, with IU, yeah. So I mean, you still got to maneuver as if you don't necessarily have that in your back pocket.
Right.
There is wide receivers that are still available out there. I also don't think you could just sit back and bank on Jeremiah Love being there at 7. I mean, who's to say that the Titans don't take him? Like, you can't bank on any player being there in particular. You just never know how the draft could play out. Like, the only one I could confidently kind of sit back here and kind of bank on is
Marlon Mack.
Cardell Tate, but Tate ain't a guy that I would, want
I'm with
Washington to
you.
get within top 10. I don't even think he's the best wide receiver in this class. Like, honestly, he'd probably be my third or fourth wide receiver. And I also like the class coming out next year with
Yes.
with uh with Nick Marsh, Cam
Can't wait till next year
Coleman.
though, bro.
Yeah, I mean
I know what
you
you're
can't wait
saying.
until next year, but
I know
it's
what you're
like,
saying, but you can't wait if they feel like whoever it is, and I mentioned Carnell, so I know that's why y'all are bringing up Carnell. But even any other receiver at 7, that makes sense for them, right? They feel like that's their guy, bro. Like we ain't got shit at the position, bro. And if they do end up bringing out you can hear, bro, like oh my god, like I ain't got no expectations for that nigga.
I mean, I think as I sit here at 8:05 doing the show with y'all, bro, I don't know what to expect from the offense because I also don't know what David Blau is going to do as a play caller.
Right
And
now, they some
and
shit.
the roster that they have right now, yeah, like you said, it's some shit. So I really don't know what to expect from the offense. Defensively, I know that you've added a lot of pieces that can contribute, be versatile. You've also added some depth pieces, but offensively for your quarterback, you have no running back. I'm not counting on Bill. I'm not thinking about Ben Sinnott. I'm not thinking about John Bates. I don't even know the only other two wide receivers on the roster with Terry is Luke and Jalen Lane. Like, what am I counting on? And then I also don't know what we doing at left guard, and I don't know what we doing at center.
Well, Brandon Coleman has to be the answer at least left guard. I mean,
I mean, does he though? Like
he
they
has to
drafted.
be.
I mean, but that's also another Adam Peters failure. He drafted
I
him
wouldn't say
third
it's a
round
failure.
to be the left tackle, and he pivoted off of him the following year to get
Well, you
Lermy.
credit for
Great
that
pickup. Great
because you could
pickup.
do that all day.
Yeah, great pickup on Lermy. But then you would think that Brandon would move to the right tackle position. That doesn't happen. They end up taking Josh Conley Jr. They take Josh Conley Jr., move Brandon Coleman to left guard. He ends up playing for a couple games, not looking the greatest, gets hurt. Chris Paul comes in and he never gives up that job again. And Brandon Coleman is inactive for what, 2-3 games
But
that he
he,
was
to be
able to
fair,
play in?
he did look good whenever he did have to step in for Larry Tunsil. But that doesn't mean he's great at
I
left
mean, what was it? The last 1 or 2 games of the
No,
season?
it was the
Or
Chiefs
you
game.
talking about the quick snaps?
He played
Even
against the
yeah,
Chargers. He played against
Like
the
full
Chiefs. I'm
game?
pretty sure like
no,
Tunsil was
he
out.
stepped in for when Tunsil
Yeah,
was hurt. And
and
then
he was
then
good.
he had a full game. He had like 2 full games, and then he had some spot duty.
Yeah. So now it's like, what are you doing with Brandon
I
Coleman?
think I think ultimately, and we can close it out here.
Yeah,
Um, I think ultimately any internal banking on internal roles after you done made the decision to let Chris Paul walk and cut Biotis is a failure. I don't think that was their intended thing, no matter how they slice it. Sure, they may have to draft a guy. If ultimately they aren't able to get who they want or who they view as serviceable in free agency, you're gonna have to draft somebody. But I think going internal is going to be a failure. And I say failure from a playing standpoint. I'm not saying the player will suck.
I say at the
Um,
center position, I agree.
yeah, because I think about even um Andrew Wiley. Like he has versatility. He can play either
Yeah.
guard position. He can
Yeah,
play
he can do it.
tackle, right? And sure that's okay, but we know, bro. And even with Brandon Coleman, um, wasn't a really good start from a guard standpoint. He served well at tackle, helping out when Tunsil was hurt or missed time. But from a guard standpoint, even that transition didn't work out for him. That's ultimately how Chris Paul ended up playing the rest of the season. It's because Brandon Coleman wasn't good enough. So, yeah, bro. I don't even. And the part I want to be clear too. That's my last thing. Yes, we did blackmail. We re-signed Treylon Burks to a 1-year deal. I don't think Biotis was ass, bro. He just wasn't good enough for these guys, and it wasn't it just wasn't a fit. I think people, because I vividly remember somebody asking me about Biotis in the middle of the season, and I remember at that point I said he was pretty good. Ultimately I was wrong, but he wasn't terrible. He wasn't bad. Just wasn't good enough. And I think that's sometimes what those cuts and releases indicate. They just wasn't good enough. But yeah, internal is a failure. They need to find some people, bro.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm so
Go ahead.
thrown off by this trade off thing. Like, what does that even mean? Like, you got to do something, and yeah, I got to figure this out.
It is weird, and for a
Gotta
player of
figure-
that caliber, it's weird. I ain't gonna hold you.
It sounds like he didn't pass the physical, from what I'm hearing.
You think so?
They said
said
that
He can't take the physical until tomorrow. So that's where it's just like, I don't know, maybe they got like some reports from medical the doctors with the Raiders that they're not willing to accept. I don't know, but
Well,
can't take the physical until tomorrow.
Ian Rappaport just came out said it is a medical reason per Mike Garofalo, and trades are contingent upon a physical. So it's definitely medical. It sounds like
maybe medical, and then think about what Jordan Schultz reported too.
Yeah.
Baltimore is going to try and go for Trey Hendrickson.
but that's Plan B. Crosby was Plan A.
I don't disagree, but it's like, if you know that you, like I said, if you know that you got a real shot at Hendrickson, why would you pay the cost for Max Crosby?
Man, this is hella wild. But yeah, man.
All right. Like I said, we'll be on the lookout between now and Thursday for any Commanders news and updates. We may be around a second time this week, chat. We appreciate. Oh, Rossini just tweeted. Okay, Dapper, what's up? What's up, big dog? Rossini just tweeted that he failed the physical. Damn. Well, Moneyball, no, we're not trading for the command. For Crosby. I'm sorry. Hate to break it to you, buddy.
Not at all.
Some team that's willing to live with what his physical results are. Though.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just Baltimore just ain't it.
We'll be on standby between now and Thursday. Everybody that's still around. So if there's some news between then, we'll be back Thursday, 7 p.m. ish. 7 p.m. I don't know why I said that. We'll be back 7 p.m. We'll talk about it. But until next time, man, y'all take it easy.
Goodbye for now.
If no news
to you, my friend. Goodbye
we'll be back
for
next
now
Tuesday.
until we meet again.
We got a guest. Hold on, we supposed to have a guest. We supposed to be having a guest coming up. AJ.
Right. Yeah.
In the box.
We don't need no names though.
Nah. We definitely. We just got to play.
On the same page here, right? We know we.
Nah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
All right. Okay. Hey. All right. Okay. Cool. So look, if that turns out,
if we doing the show Thursday, I can have another guest too.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah,
I can do Thursday,
I'll text y'all.
Is it gonna be worth? If it's gonna be, is it?
Yeah, it's worth it.
All
right. Let's talk about.
I'll text y'all about it.
Hey, Jay Tizzy, is Figueroa? Is that where the stripper hole is at? I'm trying to see where the stripper hole is at.
Hey man, you trying to get fired, bro? Hey man, go ahead, end the stream. The stream ain't over, bro. Hit end, bro.
All right, bro. I'll see y'all later, bro.
Hit end.
Change
down, trap, 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 trap it down, trap, 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 trap it down, trap it down, trap it down, you gon' trap it down, trap it down, trap it down, trap it down, you gon' trap it down. Damn, set, watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep your cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive, this is Trap or Dive.